Nick. How much consideration did you give to getting all of your starters even some run in this game, or with the guys in Milwaukee sitting out, is there just nothing to gain from it?
Well, we got a few guys playing, a few guys sitting, just kind of based on individual need. I think here give a few of these guys a little run out here today. Obviously, somebody like Gary's needs to probably play as many minutes as he can handle today. And then for the rest of them, they'll be, OG, Pascal, Freddie are out, obviously. Scotty and Yak still in. Give those guys a little bit of run as well. Yeah.
Good opportunity to see some young guys that haven't had as much opportunity just because of the circumstances this year.
Yeah, there'll be I think a chance to see some guys that we haven't seen, maybe, Ron, Harper, Joe, possibly haven't seen much. Delano's back off injury, looking pretty good, so give him a chance to get out there again as well, and see what they can do. Yeah.
What do you see from the evolution of Scotty's game this year over the course of the season? You want him to be more assertive as always.
Yep.
Did he achieve that goal in your mind?
Well, I think that it's still a work in progress, Doug. I think that he's never really been a great scorer, right? In his I think short college career, younger. And I think what he accomplished last year, scoring as much as he did, was probably one of our biggest questions going into the season. And I just think continuing to progress on that is certainly the goal. I mean, and I think, listen, his shooting mechanics and all those things are coming. I think there's some days where he looks really good out there from the three ball, but that is like it's just like this new territory for guys that aren't used to shooting it. That doesn't only take a lot of mechanical skill work, and then it becomes part of a mindset, and then it becomes there's a lot of things that go into it, and there's we kind of talk about stages of becoming a valid or viable 3-point shooter, and I think he's making progress up those stages. Yeah.
When assessing sort of his season, I know season's not done, but how much consideration is given to, he started off in a similar role, maybe a bit, more usage, and then for a while there, he was a screener and seemed to be getting great traction there. And then Yak comes in and there's a bit less opportunity. Like, how do you think he's handled sort of the changes he's had, like the adapt?
Pretty good. I think that again, I think for almost anybody, but almost all young players go through probably a little more, a few more swings of up and down moments, right? I think all guys do, seasoned veterans probably the least of that group, but they still go through them too, right? But I just think, again, for a young guy, you're going to see some ups and downs, and for me, I think he's handled them really well. I think he's bounced back, several times when, just things aren't going his way, as a number of our guys. So that's the main thing, is that when you're in a little bit of a valley, is that you climb your way out and get back up on an upswing.
You mentioned Gary earlier. Understandable that there's some rust on him after missing so much
Yep.
time. Do you feel like with the reps today and a couple days, he can get back to where he usually is by Wednesday?
Yeah, I mean, we got to shoot for that, right? And we got to hope for that. And again, I think that he didn't get much done in Game 1, obviously, in Boston. He started getting a few things going later on in Game 2, and here's another opportunity for him. I know this. He's been working really hard for much longer than just the last few days. Like, he's been out there, working pretty hard now for a good 10 days, I would say. So, but there's nothing like some game reps to try to get him back. But we're certainly going to need him, yeah.
Coach, on a higher level, obviously a lot of guys are out just getting some rest probably, but what's the mindset going into this game? What do you tell your team?
Well, we just want to play well, play good basketball. Like, I think the challenge tonight is it'll be a fast-paced game from Milwaukee. It's going to be, can we defend them in transition, and can we defend them from the three-point line? I think they took 49 threes the other night. I think they set some kind of record in the first half and made like 15 or something in a half. And so they've got a whole bunch of guys and that need to be able to play off of Giannis, right? And they're all kind of so that's what they do in the games, because he's drawing attention. It comes out to them. They got to be ready to and confident to catch and shoot. So they're still working on that or doing that, I think, with whatever group they put out there. So that's the challenge for us today. And again, it's certainly a good challenge for us to be able to have to defend that. But it's also team-wise, it's a good challenge. But individually, we got to get some guys to bring some energy and play the right way and all that kind of stuff going into the next one.
Going back to Scotty.
Yep.
Unless you're talking about an all-time great, a Jordan kind of guy who comes in and just naturally, first year, second year, third year, everything goes for them.
Yeah.
Isn't what he's going through or has gone through typical of even high-level rookies?
I think there's certainly some historical data that would back that up, Steve. I think that I think the biggest thing is he's still really, really young, right? He's really young, and I just, again, we like a lot of things about him. A lot about his approach. He's competitive. He's big. He's strong. He loves to play. Those skills and things, I think, are the thing that he's gonna really have to get to work on and continue to improve on. Because you know how it is. If you're going to be a all-star or a great player in this league, you got to score, right? And I always say this too about him, he likes to pass the ball. Right? And the goal, though, is that they can do a little bit of everything. Eric already mentioned it. Can you handle in the pick and roll, and can you set in the pick and roll? Because that gives you two different looks and two opportunities to be a part of the offense. You see the other guys in the league that are really good wing players. One moment they're handling, next minute they're setting and getting the ball going down the lane and operating from there. We'd like him to post up a little bit so he can take advantage of mismatches. He's been pretty much improved in that area. I think we've given him the ball in the low block a lot more this year. And then I think, as always, just to round out your offense in general, you got to have some spacing. So being able to knock down they can't disrespect you from three, or they can't plug gaps off some of your other guys. You got to be able to make them pay once in a while for that.
Happy with the pressure he puts on the rim just off the dribble. Like, Giannis, for example, is not a great shooter, but he certainly draws a ton of attention and puts a lot of pressure. I
think that there's times when Scotty really puts a lot of pressure on the rim, and I'm gonna kind of say I'll probably never be happy with that. I just think that if you can do that and keep putting pressure on the rim, which puts pressure on defenses to collapse and things, that's a good start to any offense. Yeah.
How unusual do you think it is to have a guy who is so pass first? It seems like
in
everyone
this day and
comes
age,
on, yeah.
Pretty unusual.
Nick, when I see you, I tend to think of the Eastern Conference Finals, that first year with you, that
Yep.
first year with Bud. So I'd say you're uniquely well suited to speak on the Bucks' maturity and
Yep.
growth over the years. Thinking back to that team and now this team 4 years later, what do you see as kind of the overarching differences?
Well, I haven't given that much thought, but let me think about it here for a second. So, listen. First of all, I think they've got a premier or excellent defender at three positions. They got one at the guard in Holiday, they got one at the wing in Giannis, and they got one at the center in Lopez. Not sure they had Holiday back then, right? So that gives them just a whole nother three lines of defense that are always keys in playoff series or when you're trying to build a really great team, right? And then I think they've done a good job of developing or signing shooters to play around Giannis. I think everybody they got out there is a three threat. I think every single guy, which is smart, and they got a lot of vets. Man, I think teams that a lot of teams, not every championship team is like that, but there's a lot of teams that are trying to get to that point. I mean, it's pretty common. You can see, just a lot of guys that have been around the league a long time seem to end up migrating to those teams at the trade deadline or the what is it called, the buyout deadline. End up just keep bringing in veteran guys just in case, of injury or whatever. So that would be some of the things I see. Yep.
Coach?
Yep.
Yes, after 2 months since his arrival, what are the most important benefits that has the team taken from Jakob Poeltl in the game?
From Jakob?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think that it's just given us a matchup when we do play against a big center to certainly have a defensive matchup against that guy. I still say that probably as time's gone on here, one of the biggest things he's done for us is let us defensively rebound the ball much better with much. There's a lot more easier defensive rebounds, which I think has in turn led us to a little better transition offense, or at least up the floor a little quicker and with more shot clock to play with, et cetera. That's probably the biggest thing. And again, he's a pretty good screener, roller on offense. He's out there every night playing. Good passer. I think the passing's been a big benefit to us as well. Yeah.
Have you come across Lindell Wigington?
Yes. Yes, he's done a good job. Yeah, we had him summer league. Yeah, he's done a good job to hang in there. I was watching a lot of tape, obviously, the last couple days, and he's really playing very solid for him. He's shooting the ball well. I think he was 4 out of 10 in his last game from 3, which I'm not sure that was his thing a few years ago. Was just kind of an open court penetrate guy, but he's now running the team pretty well, shooting. Good to see, man, because he did get off to a rocky start, I think, in his pro career. I'm not sure how many teams, even maybe a couple minor league teams he bounced around to, and now he finds himself on a ending day roster. Pretty good. And playing good.
As it relates to Canada, do you see the possibility of, like, Bifundu in Boston the other day, Shaden's finishing really strong, he's kind of in Dell now. Do you kind of see them in the picture at all for the summer?
Well, I think that what we have to do is always keep everyone in the picture, right? Anybody that's playing at a high level or that keeps getting better, we keep our eye on and keep them all in the picture till we see where we're at. And again, the way it's set up and structured now is you got to have some depth and some, like, I'm not just talking about with your first team, your Windows team, and you like there's a lot of complaining, I think, not complaining. Yeah, maybe complaining about well, I'm just, about how some of these teams have to go through these windows without any of their best players. Well, we all do. So that means that your country's depth becomes a huge factor, right? So I think those guys always factor into the whole big picture of that. I think it makes it interesting. Yeah.